Warning, this video from Spectre Sound Studios may feature opinions that differ from your own. Try not to cry too hard. Good morning, ladies, gentlemen, and bass players. It's time once again for SMG Viewers Comments. At the time this video is airing, I should be on a plane back to Canada, back coming into Spectre Sound Studios and whatnot, finishing up my California trip. Anyway, let's cut the crap and get right to it.
Well done, Glenn. I found your channel during the first lockdown and have watched ever since. Great information with no bull, cutting through folklore with solid science. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, dude. Much appreciated. Yeah, that's the whole point. It's like, I'm just like, why take somebody's word for it when you can just do a test and see if there's actually truth behind the story? And with the advent of home recording and reamping and that kind of thing, that stuff's really easy to do. I learned an awful lot over the last 10, 15 years in here just by doing reamps and figuring out what makes changes and what doesn't. And I'm trying to share that with the community at large. A lot of you guys really appreciate that, and a lot of you guys really hate my fucking guts for it. Oh well, I'm gonna keep telling the truth. Hope you keep watching.
Go ahead and throw every amp you have out now. You don't need them.
Hey man, great suggestion. You know what? I got so much more room to work in my studio now. It's not so fucking claustrophobic anymore. This is great.
I like to bring my Kemper on stage, not my fucking laptop.
So Kemper's about $1,800 right now, brand new. Sure, you can bring it on stage. You know what else you can bring on stage? One of these. This is $399, includes the full software. Still happy you bought that, Kemper?
Glenn, I just heard guitars say cables affect your tone. Can you please disprove this insanity?
Yeah, you know what? That might actually be pretty interesting suggestion to do. We can take a look at a couple different brands of cable, then we can take a look at distances of cable. That's actually a pretty cool idea. I would think that the distance thing really does work. When you start getting into the super long guitar cables, it can affect your tone a little bit. But, you know, one brand of copper versus another, if you believe that shit, you probably spent a lot of money on monster cables back in the 90s. Fucking hate this industry sometimes, I swear.
So will you bring the laptop on stage?
You know what? This is a MacBook Air. This thing runs rock solid. I've never been able to crash the fucking thing in the entire time I've had it. You can run low latency stuff on here. The battery will last all day and it weighs almost nothing. So yeah, you know, you get yourself an AirStep controller to work your software controls via foot switch and Bluetooth. Yeah, this is a viable option. I don't understand the whole resistance against it. I mean, like, you go to see major touring acts these days, they're all playing like quad Cortexes and Kempers and that kind of shit. So this is just another variation of that, except this, you don't plug into the wall and it'll fucking run even if the fucking building loses power. We don't want to use that because it's not cool. I don't understand. Can somebody explain the logic behind the resistance to playing your guitar through a laptop? I just don't fucking get it. Okay, hang on. Yes, I do. If you're talking PCs, yeah, that might crash on you. So there is that.
Meh. Digital stuff has been nailing high gain sound since the pod. It's the clean sounds that are hard for digital to nail.
Well, Michael, I'd suggest you get the dirt out of your ears because the pod guitar sounds sucked ass. Fucking hated the pod guitar sounds. They were horrible at high gain. So you think they sounded okay? Yeah, we're on a very different opinion there, my friend. The clean sounds I always thought they could get, but the dirty sounds, ugh. Talk about, they just sounded like fucking, well, that's where the term fried assholes came from. Now, in other news, this episode sponsors 70,000 Tons of Metal, otherwise known as the most fun you'll ever have with your clothes on, is already gearing up for the 2024 cruise and just announced Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic as next year's destination. The cruise will go from January 29th to February the 2nd, and if it's anything like this year's cruise, it is going to be absolutely nuts. It's 4.5 days of nothing but non-stop metal. I got to do the 2023 run and it was a complete blast. I saw a ton of bands, including Dragon Force, Camelot, and Nightwish, plus many, many other bands. And I do mean many. But it's not just the band. There is so much to do, like shore excursions, all-night karaoke, meet and greet with the artists, and of course, the belly flop contest. The weather's great, the food's great, and most importantly, the people are great. The metal community on this cruise is really something else. Now, if you're a headbanger and you haven't signed up for 70,000 Tons of Metal, I've got to ask, why the hell not? It's a seriously amount of fun, and I hope to see you guys on board in January 2024.
Absolutely stupid for you to put down a rival, no matter how good the product is. Very bad marketing, product provider, you knew how the video has been made. After this very poor brand, I don't even buy the product.
Another satisfied Kemper user. Thanks so much for writing, Timo. We always love hearing from you. Seriously, I don't understand why people get upset. Oh, hang on a second. Yes, I do. The Kemper users are upset because they dropped nearly $2,000 on something that you can get a better product for only $400. Technology moves forward no matter how much you cry about it.
If you've been down the guitar rabbit hole too long, then time to come up for some air. There's no bigger tone difference, in my opinion, than a good old speaker swap out and an EQ pedal. That's the secret. It's all various degrees of EQ. The rest are minor nuances. Spend your time making music and stop pissing around your precious time.
You know what, Carlos? I'm 100% on board with you on that one. It is. It's just all really comes down to EQ, and speakers is just incredibly complex EQs. And they sound different depending on how they're made and put together. There's a whole bunch of nuance to that. That's really what's happening. And it all comes down to basically put a fucking distortion pedal and an EQ pedal in your chain before your amp. Put the EQ before the distortion, then put the EQ after the distortion. One makes a huge difference, one doesn't the other. The first one is basically what a pickup does. EQ before the distortion. That's why we don't hear huge variances from guitar to guitar to guitar, because we're distorting the sound. Oh.
Glenn, I think the microphone capture is less accurate than the human ear.
Really, Mad Jack? Okay, anything to back that claim up with, or are you just pulling that out of your ass? Here's the thing, man. The great thing about microphones is they actually fucking tell us what's going on. And the other thing, and I'll paraphrase Jim Lil here, is every guitar sound you've ever heard on any record anywhere has gone through a microphone. So all your favorite sounds that you heard on a record, yep, they went through a microphone. So take your human ear more accurate and shove it, because the facts don't support your claims.
You can definitely hear a subtle difference, but that's just because it's guitar. Glenn, if you really want to prove a point, throw drums and bass along with that guitar shootout, and you probably won't hear a difference at all.
Yes, I've done that numerous times, especially when it comes to the tone wood thing. It's like any minor difference, if we could hear one from guitar to guitar. I had Pierre Charbonneau build me a pair with different types of wood. Was there a slight difference? It was maybe about that big. And as soon as we played a full mix, yeah, that just completely vanished. And it's the same thing as well, you know, when we do pickup swaps and that kind of stuff. When you hear it in a full mix, it's like, really, the fucking differences are so fucking minuscule. It's not worth worrying about. When I put a recording on and I want to hear that guitar sound, you know, whether it's In Flames or Carcass or something Andy Sneap did or something like that, you know, just these amazing fucking guitar sounds blasting out of my speakers. Guess what? It wasn't the tubes and the pickups that made that sound. It was the mic that went in front of the cabinet, and it was the cabinet itself with the fucking particular speakers that were in it. That's what's driving the sound. All the rest of that stuff is just fucking nonsense to get your money. That's it.
Here's my gripe with this test. You are playing very evenly good, but you are playing with no articulation, no variation in pick technique. Now, that's the style now, but not where great rhythm guitarists have gone over the years.
Really, Ron Sonic? Okay, now I'm picking too evenly. That's the whole fucking point. I want to see what happens from the guitar to guitar to guitar if we play consistently. Is the pickup making the difference? Not the playing, you dumb shit. Is the pickup making the difference? It said that right in the beginning of the video. I love it when you dispel myths, because the superstitious will pull the fucking most bullshit excuses out of their ass. Well, it didn't go like this. No, it didn't go like that. You know, I saw Richard Dawkins do this at like a divining rod convention or something like that, where he came up with a test to see if it was actually fucking true or not. And he completely disproved it. It was hilarious. And they interviewed the people afterwards, and they just came up with the most bullshit, insane excuses. Look, dude, here's the reality of the situation. Pickups are not going to be a miracle cure for your tone. It's just not gonna happen. You may get minor variances, but that's it, especially when playing at gain. If your pickups are feeding back, sure. If your pickups are microphonic, sure, get better ones. You want a single coil, great. You want a humbucker, great. But other than that, the differences are so fucking minor, they're not even worth discussing. My motivation here isn't to pull the wool over your eyes. The motivation here is to save you money, so you can put your money into things that are actually gonna change your tone. Like the fucking speakers! You know, I just don't understand this. You know, I make a video showing what really happens when you change out pickups, and I don't get people thanking me. You know, hey, you just saved me hundreds of dollars. I was thinking on buying new pickups. Now I don't have to. No, I get the upset people. Well, I don't fucking think you did it right. Would somebody fucking please explain this to me? Because I just don't get that.
Dude, your guitar reviews are great. The Mustaine View video really shines a light on potential QC issues on an instrument you would expect to be perfect coming from a USA guitar company. I personally found it funny that Gibson couldn't perfect the finish on a $2,800 guitar, that companies like Cort can do better on a sub-$500 guitar like the VX2X.
Yeah, I've had a Cort on the show. I was fucking blown away by the quality of it, actually. So there you go. Yeah, that's my big concern about the American guitar manufacturers is like, guys, it's time to fucking step up your game, because people from across the world are kicking your asses at this. And if you don't fucking start building better guitars, you are no longer going to be building guitars because nobody's going to buy them. This is the thing. You used to be able to coast on legacy, but the new generation coming up does not give a fuck about that. They want a quality guitar. They don't give a fuck about the name. So step up your game and learn how to compete with what's out there, or you'll be fucking annihilated by the competition.
Hey Glenn, there's some speaker companies from my country that I think would be cool for you to review since they don't get much attention as the big ones. Check out BGT Speakers, Nordic, and Vogan.
Vohan, whatever. Hey dude, thanks so much for the suggestions. I am always down for checking out new speakers. That sounds really cool. I've never heard of any of those brands. So yeah, I'll try reaching out and hopefully I can get them on the show at some point. And that's the thing. I love checking out new stuff. The Hesu Demons are amazing. I've got some Mojo Tone British Vintage sitting in my other room as well that are supposedly really good. I know Johan Segborn was really impressed with them. At least that's what the guys at Mojo Tone told me. Really cool stuff. I got just piles and piles of speakers I got to try. There's a couple other brands like Scumbag I want to try out as well. Maybe some Fane stuff. If you guys have suggestions for other guitar speaker brands, I am all ears. Please leave a comment below if there's a favorite guitar speaker brand that you think I should have on the show that you haven't seen yet. I mean, we've done a whole crap ton of selections, and I do have the DV77 in the other room that I still need to do a video on. It's pretty cool as well. But if there's something a little bit more off the beaten path you think would be cool, I would be more than happy to check out. But thanks again to Chow. I don't know how to pronounce your name, dude. But thanks to Mr. CM there for the suggestions there. I'll definitely look into those. Appreciate it, dude.
When you're playing death metal and chug, you don't need good tone, just detuned noise.
Well, hey, thanks so much for writing in, Barry M. I always appreciate hearing from the peanut gallery that is lodged in Eric Clapton's ass.
Interesting thing about recording live and without a click. I personally think AI will completely take over music production in terms of sampling and stuff. It will mostly take over popular music, and with the way the metal is recorded and produced these days, it will certainly leave an imprint there. Heck, there's an AI module that split out periphery tunes like it was nothing. So getting the skill set to play live and record live might be the right thing to get into now. As you said, it seems about time for the pendulum to swing back. These times historically seem similar to the late 80s, and we might just be 2 to 3 years off from having the next grunge explosion.
Dude, I think you're right. Yeah, I heard something about AI spitting out metal tracks and that kind of thing. And I think, as long as we're doing the hyper time aligned, perfected bullshit that so many bands are putting out these days, yeah, AI is going to put you out of a fucking job. So yeah, you might want to learn how to play as a band and pull off your shit live, because that's going to be way more interesting to listen to than AI that's going to be able to do your thing better than you.
I'm living in Japan right now. Sadly, I'm going home to visit family literally the day you arrive. I suggest Big Boss Music, and I can't fucking pronounce that. They're a direct dealer for the ESP custom shop, and you can find a lot of cool shit that's only sold in Japan. So use Shoe, Signature Manuals, Killer KG.
Yeah, you know what? I actually went to Big Boss, had a blast there, met a couple of the staff. They watched the show, so hey, thanks guys for saying hi and all that. Spent pretty much the whole day in that district just checking out so many different guitar shops and whatnot. And yeah, you're right. The killer guitars are there. They got the Akira models there. The guy from Loudness. Those seem to be very popular there. Yeah, the ESPs, all that shit. It was super cool. Tokyo was a real cool city if you're a guitar player. I gotta admit though, I was on the hunt for an old 80s Hondo white Rhodes style V with the orange lightning bolt. We checked out a bunch of hard-off shops on the drive down to Hamamatsu. We went to the Yamaha Museum as well. We did some video work in there, which was pretty cool. That's going to be coming out of the show sometime this spring, I imagine. Cool stuff, that's for sure. We had a real good time. Didn't have any luck finding an old Hondo, even though we were in Japan. I knew it was kind of a shot in the dark, but I had my fingers crossed. But yeah, Japan is definitely a very cool place to go if you're a guitar player. That's for sure. Just, the quality of the instruments we saw in there just blew us away. So cool indeed.
I'm so stoked for that island video. It's win-win even if things go wrong. You can just do fly-on-the-wall documentary of Henning melting down on the phone because all his gear is held up in customs.
Well, I'm back from the island. We did a bunch of videos there. I think I did 5 or 6 while I was there. Had a really great time, great bunch of guys. We made a whole bunch of content. Got to hang out and play guitar for quite a while. It was an awful lot of fun. If you haven't seen them yet, I've got a very interesting video I did with Colin Scott where we talked about pickup heights. Just an observation I was going to say is, I have a hard time remembering what something sounded like 30 seconds ago, much less 3 years ago. And, the differences we thought we were hearing in the moment when we play back the video, it's like, yeah, they're not so apparent. And that's why it's so important to record your shit when you're making changes to your tone so you can make actual observations rather than relying on your flawed memories. Pretty interesting video nonetheless. Colin had some interesting things to say about pickups. We made some cool observations, cool video. And Perfecto de Castro gave me a lesson on pinch harmonics. Really cool stuff as well. If you haven't seen those videos already, they are on my show. I'll have some links right here and in the description below. All right, everybody, that's it for this episode. episode. Thanks so much for watching and all that stuff. Thanks to 70,000 Tons of Metal for sponsoring this video. You guys fucking absolutely rule. I'd highly recommend going to 70K next year. It's an absolute blast. It is 4 days of absolute metal insanity. We had such a good time. I hope to see you there. Anyway, you guys have yourselves a wonderful weekend. I will see you back here in a few days with a couple more cool shootouts and science experiments, just so we can put some more guitar myths to rest. See you then. So Kemper's about... Nope.